when we remember the nature of charity, which is willing the good of the other, and we realize that it's a universal love, everybody is loved, that means it's not just a spiritual thing, because I think it's easy to kind of compartmentalize our lives. Like, okay, I go to church, I do my thing here, but then when I'm with my family, in the workplace, in school, in society, whatever else, maybe even voting or whatever the thing might be, that's different. Well, no, actually, it's the integration that brings the healthiness. That's what brings the healthy, happy, and holiness. Not only the full human flourishing, the full spiritual flourishing. And so perhaps many of us have had experiences in our lives, like we see someone like they are so happy. They're humanly healthy and they're so happy. Why are they so happy? As you get to know them, you realize they're living this like really animated life of like receiving God's love and then applying in every circumstance of their life. So they're not hiding from things in society. They're not disengaged in things in society. They're actually animators of God's love. They're animators of God's love. So they let the life, the Holy Spirit be alive in them. When the Holy Spirit's alive, it cannot be contained, it's spread. And so the whole goal we all have is, I just need more of God. I just need more of God's grace, God's how, because then I even order the healthy things, the human things in my life so that I'm healthy. But I'm also remembering the end goal, right? What's the end goal? The end goal isn't just to be physically fit the rest of our lives, or to be financially stable the rest of our lives, or to just mind my own business, right, in my own little house or whatever. No, charity is universal. Like, I'm looking out. I'm looking out at God. I'm looking out at others. And so when charity is internalized, it's realizing the best thing I can do, not just for myself. It's not a selfish thing. Because remember, charity is willing to go to the other. So when the focus is outward to God and others, I receive from God what I need. So it's like turning up, looking to God, receive from God what I need, and then I'm propelled to seek what's good for them. And then what happens when another person is doing the same thing, they're looking up at God, then they're looking like, what can I do to help that person? So in a marriage, that's what makes a healthy marriage. They're both seeking God's grace to love the other person. And the other person receives that love as a gift. And that's not just for us when we're in church or in our families. We are to be animators of God's goodness in the world. And so people that so inspire me is when I see they're alive, they're engaged, not just coming to church every Sunday. They're praying, they're striving to be healthy, happy, and holy in every aspect of their life. But it's also not just, again, in the home, in their marriage, or in school, or in the senior citizen center, whatever stage of life people are at. It's actually engagement in society. So remember, it's really important as Catholics, especially laymen and women, right, those who live in the world and work in the world, their responsibility is to bring the light of Christ into every place they encounter. So it could be on the sidelines watching a kid's or grandkids' ball game, right, or sports event. It can be in civil society, getting involved. It can be coaching. It can be all kinds of things, like give yourself for the good of others. But that's also really, really important when we look at like how laws are established, things within our communities, say our cities or our state or federal level, like no animators of God's charity are actually actively engaged in all those places. So they're actively engaged in everything in society to actually help it flourish because they're looking outside of themselves, not seeking their own good. They're seeking the common good, the good of all. And that's even if you take it outside of faith-based things, right? So we can speak about the common good. Let's say it's people who aren't even into faith. Well, to will their good is the common good. And so to help them and to help society and to help whatever organization someone might volunteer in, you become animators of God's goodness for the common good, which is an objectively true thing to be learned, discovered, shared, but it's to be engaged. So if we use the example of sometimes people will say, well, whatever, something's going on in society and how many people are going to show up to even like manifest, say, a school board meeting or I don't know, whatever the thing might be. We could use, of course, the examples of voting, or you could use the example of whatever topic you want to use. It's like actually the lack of engagement is not the right answer. It's an active engagement in the reality of what is true, good, and beautiful.